Hey everybody, what do you say? JGA 59 Gannon here. And yeah, I'm just going to talk about a few things today. Uh, I'd like to lead off with the two 1969 Topps Clay Dalrymple cards. If you saw my video last week, you saw how I discussed that there were two 1969 Topps Don Clendenin cards, and those cards use the same image, just showing Don Clendenin uh, with two different teams, the Montreal Expos and then the Houston Astros. But the Dalrymple card, as you can see, used two different photos. First one showing him on the Phillies, and the second one showing him after he was traded to the Orioles. The Phillies would have to have been the first card, and you can see that if you read the backs of the cards, which are different. On the back of the Phillies card, you can see that Dalrymple had been playing for the Phillies since 1960. And it says, a top-notch receiver, Clay set an NL record in 1967 when he handled 628 consecutive errorless chances. But then on the back of the Orioles card, it says, after 13 years in the Phillies organization, Clay was traded to the Baltimore Orioles on January 20th, 1969. So I just wanted to, bring this card to your attention, that they're two different Clay Dalrymple cards. And, if you're building a set, you're going to have to watch out for that. Okay. All right. Next, I'd just like to take a moment to thank Vintage Dave T for the Christmas card he sent me over the holidays. Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate you thinking of me. And, Dave sent along one of his own cards that's in the style of the 1951 Top set. Cool card. And he also sent some modern cards of New York Yankees players, which I gave to my son Michael, because he's much more up on the modern scene than I am, and he really knows the players of today. And so I thought he'd like the cards, so I gave those to him. And it was just really thoughtful of you, Dave, to think of me, to send me the Christmas card and your card and the Yankee cards like that. So again, thanks again. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, of course. I just thought I'd take a moment also to share with you some wrappers that I've collected. I've only collected wrappers that I actually bought, that covered packs that I bought as a kid. Um, I, Buying wrappers is definitely a rabbit hole I could go down. There's so many great wrappers, but I'm just right now focusing on wrappers again that I collected as a kid myself. And although that could change, but for now. The first wrapper we're looking at, of course, is the wrapper to the 1968 Topps baseball set. Telling you, if I had saved all the wrappers that I went through that year, I mean, I could, I am retired, but, maybe I'd have a little bit more money because, these things, they go for somebody. And I had so many of these. But who knew? We didn't know then. You opened up your pack of cards, threw the wrapper out, chewed the gum, and looked at the cards. Wrappers were for throwing out. God. Anyway, so later on in the season, they issued those game cards, and the wrappers reflected that. and the wrappers looked like this for a while. And then, toward the end of the season, the wrappers went back to being fully yellow. But this wrapper shows, the playing card. There'd be one in each pack, and I collected them all. I had all of them, and about 20 years ago, I needed a little money, so I sold. I had the entire '68 set, and I sold the set. And I forgot to take out the game cards in the back of the binder, so I the guy I mailed them to got those. I remember him saying, "Wow, I'm very happy with this set." And if today, if that had happened today, I would have said, "Hey, I made a mistake. Could you please send it back to me? I'll pay for the postage." But I didn't know what to do back then, so I just gave him he got the game set as well. Oh, the battle, the war stories we have as collectors. Okay. And then that season, 1968, this is from 68 again, those big, long posters that came out that season. Well, they were issued in their own packs because they were much bigger than the cards, and they wouldn't have fit into the regular baseball card packs, like let's say I believe the 67 posters were in the 67 packs because they were small enough to fit in those packs. But not the 68 posters. They came in their own packs. And this is one of the wrappers from one of those packs. I still have some of these posters. I'll show them sometime. And I was lucky enough to get a Mickey Mantle. So, yeah. Then, after the summer was over, and then the football cards came out, and this is my first year really collecting, and I said, all right, wow, football cards, and I started buying those, and these were the wrappers that came with those packs, and, you got 5 cards and a stick of gum for 5 cents. And again, I had, a ton of these wrappers, and, I wish I had held on to those. And then in 1969, this is what the baseball card wrappers looked like. Yeah, that's how they looked. Excuse me. Now, the next 2 wrappers I'm going to show were wrappers for what were called fun packs. And as I remember, I would only see these around Halloween. You'd go trick-or-treating and, you get candy, of course, but occasionally somebody would give you one of these fun packs, and inside, the pack was 1 card and a stick of bubble gum. And inside these packs, they could have, football cards or baseball cards or, non-sports cards as well. I remember getting a 1967 Topps Joe Namath in one of these packs, and also a 1967 Topps Darryl LaMonica. Because I didn't collect football cards in 1967, and I remember having those cards, and I remember getting them from these packs. And here's a different color wrapper, same thing. They'd have 1 card and a stick of bubble gum. And next, I've got a 1972 Topps football wrapper. And these wrappers came in different colors. Here you see football highlighted in orange, but they also had ones in yellow, green, blue, and I'm going to collect those colors as well. But right now I've just got this one, the one in orange. Yeah. These are really cool. 1972 Topps football. And I was a big Monkees fan when I was a kid. Still am. And, I went and collected a lot of Monkees cards. And, I believe this was from the first set they ever issued. they were sepia toned. They weren't black and white, and they weren't color. They had a sepia look to them. I believe I'm saying that word correctly. Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, you see Davy Jones at top left, Michael Nesmith top right, on the top right, and then Peter Tork bottom left, Mickey Dolenz on the bottom right. I was a big Mickey Dolenz fan. He was my favorite monkey. And sadly, he's the only monkey still alive today. And actually, a little over a year ago, I met my sister and my niece downtown Manhattan, and he was playing at a city winery there, which is a small club downtown Manhattan in the West Village. And yeah, we had seats right up front, and that was really wild. Finally seeing Mickey Dolenz. Actually, I'd seen him once before, probably in the late 80s, early 90s. He was doing a book signing at he put out a book, and he was doing a book signing at, I think, a B. Dalton bookseller. It was on the corner of 6th Avenue and 8th Street. And I remember, I just happened to be walking by that day. There's a big long line, and I didn't get on the line, so I just went in the store and I saw him sitting at the table, getting ready to, receive all of his fans and sign copies of his book. And then later on, the Monkees came out with color cards. I remember my friend Doug, had the Monkey color cards. I said, "Whoa, wow, where'd you get those?" I said, "Oh yeah, I got them at Monaco's Delicatessen, which is on New York Avenue, where I used to live in Huntington." So we went there as soon as we could, and sure enough. And, oh man, I love those cards. And if I remember correctly, the gum they had for the Monkees color cards was a sort of kind of a banana type of card. It was yellow. I'm sorry, banana type of gum. It was yellow. It was a little bit different than the gum that you would get for baseball cards. Yeah, cool wrapper. Monkees also put out these flip books, where you'd flip the pages and then you'd see the images move. And yeah, I have one of those. I should have gotten it out. But yeah, so, I got a bunch of these. I thought they were really cool. So there's a wrapper for those. And, yep, believe it or not, my sister and I and my cousins, we collected Beatles cards back in 1964. And, I have a whole bunch of them, the cards that we actually collected in 1964. And there are probably some from, my sister and me and my cousins. And yeah, this was just one of the series that they issued. They issued different Beatles cards that year. One was one was called the Beatles Diary, and another one was from the movie A Hard Day's Night. But I think this was one from the original series of cards. Yeah. Okay, just got two more. Who remembers the show Lost in Space? Dr. Smith, the robot, Will Robinson, the Robinson Family. Yeah, I actually saw this show when it premiered back in 1965 or 66. And then I used to watch the show. It was in syndication, and I used to watch it after school. It'd be on for an hour, and I caught a lot of the episodes that way. And interestingly, they had two different theme songs to Lost in Space, really cool theme songs. The first one, if you go over to YouTube and look for the Lost in Space theme, it's pretty wild stuff. I think it was by John Williams, if I'm not mistaken. Famous, guy who's written music for movies. I just love this rapper. And the last one I'll share with you is a is a rapper from the television show The Man from U.N.C.L.E. My father introduced me to this show. It was on like around 1965. Ran for a couple of years. And yeah, I used to love this show. This was a 55 card set, and I'm actually in the middle of collecting this set, but I haven't collected any cards in a while. I think I might get a complete set eventually, and then I'll just have some doubles. But what you see on the front there is Robert Vaughn, the famous actor, and he played the character of Napoleon Solo. And he worked for the organization called U.N.C.L.E., which did battle with the evil entity known as Thrush. And his partner was David McCallum, who played the character of Ilya Kuryakin. And the head of U.N.C.L.E. was played by Leo G. Carroll, who played Mr. Waverly. So, yeah, this was just a great show. And, my father and I used to watch this all the time. I remember even getting a Man from U.N.C.L.E. game, like a board game. Okay, so those are the rappers that I've collected thus far. The last thing I want to do is to share. I just recently picked up this 1971 Ralph Houk card. And the reason I did was because there's this great YouTube channel out now by a guy named Pete Goodwin. And he's just showing these great film clips and highlights from games from the mid to late 1960s, even up to 1970. And I've been watching them, and I came across one where Ralph has an argument with an umpire, and if you think Earl Weaver used to get heated, well, Ralph played second fiddle to no one in that department. And a little bit about Ralph Houk. Of course, he was a backup catcher for the Yankees in the 1950s. Of course, nobody was going to really break in as a catcher for the Yankees back then, as Yogi Berra was the Yankees' star catcher. But he and Charlie Silvera, they kind of did backup duties. Elston Howard came on the scene, and he actually played more in the outfield in the beginning, but later on he took over for Yogi. Ralph Houk became the manager of the Yankees in 1961 after Casey Stengel was unceremoniously fired after the 1960 World Series loss to the Pirates. And he managed the Yanks through 1963. In 1964, he became the general manager. But then he went back down on the field in 1966, and he managed the Yankees through 1973. And he was the Yankee manager when I first became a fan in 1968. So what I'm going to do to close out this video, starting to get a little long now, is just show you this quick film clip from one of the Pete Goodwin videos. Again, I can't recommend them enough. Please look for those on YouTube. There are all these great clips and highlights from these games from the 60s. And, game was played differently back then. And also covered differently by the announcers. So let me show you that clip real quick. Okay, here's the clip. This is from a game that was played on June 21st, 1967 between the Yankees and the Red Sox, Yankee Stadium. Earlier in the clip, they show a little fight between the Yankees and the Red Sox. And this is later on in the game. After that, on the mound, you got Bill Monboquette. I believe you had Charlie Smith's on third, and Ruben Amaro's at shortstop. And Mickey Mantle's on first. And you're going to see, I'm just going to let the play play itself out. And you'll see where Ralph Houk comes in. So here we go.
Same type of hit. Smith, safe. Back to third. Out. Amaro making the tag. And Mambo Ket is going to argue on the play at first base. Bill figured they had it Canigliaro at first. And you can kind of tell, can't you? Now Ralph Houck is coming out to the first base umpire, Bill Haller, who is getting an earful from him. On the play, a run scored. Canigliaro will get credit for a run batted in. And now Houck is out of the game. How about that?
Gosh, how do you thank a guy like that for so many great memories, you know? I mean, those kind of scenes were and should still be, part of the game. This whole idea of, what are they, robot umpires and all this nonsense. I mean, taking all the humanity out of the game. God, yeah, Ralph Houck. Again, I don't know if I said it, he stayed with the Yanks through 73, and then he went to manage a couple different teams. I know he managed the Tigers and the Red Sox. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. I'm running a little long here, and if you stayed with me this long, I thank you, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.